with my shirt.
What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy E Short in his man room as usual, hanging out doing the ENL Sports Talk Show with my homeboy Les Miller. What's up, Les?
What's going on, good brother?
I'm chilling, man. Hey,
Yeah, I'm excited for this, man. It's just me and you, one on one.
yeah, man. I was just gonna let everybody know we're going a little different direction today. Just me and Les just kicking it back and forth and sharing our experiences, I guess. We've been around each other for a long time, man. So um we decided not to have a guest, and we each one of us will be interviewing each other, I guess, for the most part, man. But so I don't know how we're gonna start this off, man. You wanna go ahead, man. Hit up what tell everybody about Les Miller.
Okay, man. Um, Les Miller, 274 Rutland Road, Brooklyn, New York. What was your address, Eric?
197.
197
197
what?
Rutland Road.
Okay. So, I guess we've known each other, I mean, come on, forever. If I think about it, I don't know the year, the time, whatever, but all I know is that I don't know any part of my life without you. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the
I,
truth. That's the
you
truth.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was birth 2 years old, 3 years old, but all I know is that for my whole life I've known you, and that's been cool with me.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I feel the same way. I think as far back as my memory can serve me, those metal swings, man, with the bar that comes down. For some reason in my head, I felt like we were both swinging next to each other, at either PS92 or Wingate, either
or
one.
Wingate, yeah, Wingate had those swings. Wingate had those swings. My grandmother used to take me on
Yeah,
that.
92
Yeah,
had it too back there
yeah,
behind where we used to play punch ball behind that fence. It was behind that fence that where the full court was. That's where the
right.
swings
Okay,
were.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, but back to the point, I still for some reason it's one of those two or both places, and I can't. I mean I that's just we just take it for granted, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's a lovely situation, man, when you think about it. But I can't, like you said, I can't reminisce and you not pop up in my head during whatever time that I can, as far as I can go back, you know.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that junction point, man, of Rutland Road and Rogers Avenue was crazy, man. So
Yeah, man. That's
you
right.
know,
That's right. Yo, you think about it, man. All the people that in that little radius, man. We had Greg Hayes and all the Hayes brothers. Gavin, Jeff, Whoop, Quentin. You know, then we had Big Rob Williams on the other corner, right? We had Ronald on the other side,
and
and
Junior and his
and
brother-in-law
Junior.
Junior.
And Junior used to race the dogs around the block, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then we had the Vines family. You
Yeah.
know,
A
Norman
host
and
of a host
Daryl.
of like a bunch of Bo Jacksons.
I know. We had Norman, we had Daryl, we had Stevie, rest in peace. Beverly, rest in peace. The Vines. Oh man, what a great family, man.
Yeah, man. And all of the experiences of the people, man, it was like, you go further down, let's just say on my block, once you get past them, there was Brian. And then there was the white family, Eric Brooks, and then
Right, right.
Ronald's, then Ian and Howard Straker and
Breaker.
Stacy.
Yeah,
And then you go further down, you got Paul Byers,
yeah.
um, and
The
it's
Josephs,
Kevin. Huh?
the Josephs, the
Yeah,
Josephs.
the whole that's right, man. We had Sid Joe family, man.
Yeah,
From the beautiful women of our block.
that's right. That's right. That's right. They
And
beautified the block. Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
exactly. And just you just look at the families, from their parents, everyone's parents, and down to us. Like we
Hmm.
got along great. Even the people that I lived next door who weren't, were, older people. Mrs. Crawford, who
Hmm.
had a nest of cicadas, man, in our yard, man. It was crazy
Mm-hmm.
because you could
Yeah,
hear them. Like it seemed like all year round. But you just got to know everybody, you
that's
know.
right. We knew
And
everybody, man. Yeah, and think about, I mean, like the Vaughns that lived next door to me, Wayne Vaughn and Paula. You know, I mean,
yeah,
those are my next door neighbors, man. Those
yeah,
are our
Paul
family.
Francis, yeah, you
Paul
know,
Francis,
Washi.
absolutely. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And then the
Washi and
Porters, and then the Porters.
oh, come on, man. You can't forget about the Porters.
Yeah, man, my love, Lorraine.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yo, the Porters was a special family too, man, for
Yeah,
sure. And then next door to me, we had the Sims.
right.
Remember back in the day?
Yeah,
Arnez and Ollie and Larry. And Ollie used to race his dog Bam Bam around the block. Like Bam Bam would start out and him he come up first.
yeah,
Yeah,
man. And
yeah.
then you had Frank that the Tummins moved in over there.
Right. And Thomas moved in next door. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had Franklin. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was our Paul George, man, with Franklin, man. You
I'm
know.
telling you, man, for real. For
Yeah,
real.
man.
Frank could go.
But then you
He could
had the
go.
craziness
Mhm.
of the one of the original teachers of basketball, the Williams family.
Oh my gosh. Come on, man. Mr. Russell Williams.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Carpenter extraordinaire, master
Yes.
carpenter, made our
Yes.
trophies, you know,
Yes.
handmade them,
Yeah.
with two sons. One of them was like, I don't know if you want to call him a combination of Reggie Miller and a guy on Hyped Up because he had so much energy, man. Dennis was
You know,
like
Dennis Williams. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
guy, man. It was like so much energy with his game, man. That and it's really weird how I've never known his career for basketball to ever be anything. But he was
Right. Right.
really good, though. He was
He
really,
was. He was.
really good basketball player and a
But
moral
he was.
person, you know.
Yeah. He was undersized though. That was the whole thing though. Back in
Yeah,
those days, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And his
And then
brother Stevie, man.
Stevie, the
Yes,
left-handed wonder.
sir. That's right, man. And pull him up on you, boy, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's weird because then you go around the corner, believe it, and I'm throwing this in there, just extending a little bit, but you just go right
Hmm.
around that corner, and
Hmm.
where we got to like kind of like initially hone our skills on the sneak side in the backyard of the Hines family because they had a basket back there.
Oh, that's right. That's
And
right.
Roger Hines ended up being the head trainer for the
For the Knicks.
Dream Team, all the way down to Dallas Mavericks, the Knicks, like
Yeah. That's right.
the highest level of trainer in the NBA.
That's right.
Um,
Midwood Street. Midwood Street. Yeah.
yeah,
That's right.
man, you know, and
Yo. That's right. And then on that same street, that's when Lacey and them was on that street, right?
yeah,
Lacey
yeah,
and Leaf, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, but then let's get back on Rutland Road, and but if you just keep going towards Wingate, then you run into the criminal element of the basketball world. The Green family.
Yo.
Was there
It was
like there
tough.
was six of them, right?
Yeah, man. They were tough. They
Yeah,
were tough, man.
you know,
Yeah, man. Yo, man. Let me tell you a quick story though, right? So one day I had one of those Mako box, with the big
right.
handlebars and stuff. So I'm down in Wingate and I got it hanging on the fence, right? So Big Zach comes over and he says, "Yo, man, let me borrow your bike." He had my bike for 2 weeks, man. He had my bike for two. Yo, I had to go to
Debo.
Gavin Hayes. He borrowed my bike for 2 weeks. Yo, I went to Gavin. I said, "Yo, Gav, man, Zach got my bike, man." The guy used to ride by my house, man, on my bike.
Debo, man. That's Debo.
Yeah, exactly. And so Gav said, "Yo, I'll get your bike back." So the next day, Gav got my bike back, man, because
Yeah.
Gav,
But
nobody messed
but
with
Les,
Gavin.
but he was legitimately Debo for real.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the
oh yeah,
exact same
absolutely.
thing. I'll tell you a
Yeah.
story. I'm
Okay.
in Wingate Park. I'm sorry.
Mm,
I'm in PS 92 Park. It must be
mm,
900 degrees outside. It had to have been like 8 in the morning.
mm,
And you know, I must have been we were I was still in we were still going to PS 92. So it
Okay.
had to be elementary school. And there's this white kid, and we're shooting around. He had the ball. I didn't have a ball. And I'm shooting with the first basket, on the first basket right at the fence. And Zach rolls up on a bike. Might have been your bike.
Yeah, I know, right? It could
Might
have
have
been.
been your bike
Could
at
have been.
8 o'clock in the morning. And so he's like, Little Short, what's up? So he calls, yo, come on over here. So he's like, come on. So he's like, yeah, what's up, Little Short? So I said, so he says, the white guy says, give me your money. And then dude was like, what? So he pulled out a gun. It's like, I said,
Wow.
give me your money. And the guy had like $1 less. And but we were like, I don't know, 10, 9,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
he took and he's like, all right, Little Short, I'll see you later.
Wow.
And it was like, yeah, what did
Yeah.
I say? What was that?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, there was no explanation, no questions asked. Like, did you know this guy or whatever? Nah, just it was just we just accepted it, man, like the wind
Yeah.
blows,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's weird because he had brothers that were like unbelievable players, man. Johnny
Yeah.
Green
Yo.
was an incredible basketball player
Yes, he
at
was.
his own right. Older than us,
Mm-hmm.
um, and a great really good ball handler, could hit the open
Mm-hmm.
jumper, run the show type of guy. And then
Yeah.
Carlos, who was just he was just a raw athlete that could play basketball. So
Right.
and muscular. They were all
Yeah.
strong.
All of them were strong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And it's like and then there was heck, I don't even remember his name, but his head was huge. That's all I remember.
Who's that?
The other brother,
Carlito?
probably so.
Yeah. Yeah.
His
Yeah.
head was huge,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
size of a shoebox, man. Like facing like that, like sitting up. I'm
Yeah.
serious, man. And like the
Yeah.
upper part of his head was gigantic, man. And but he had game too, believe it or
Mm-hmm.
not.
They all had game. They all
Yeah,
had game.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then but it's like, but the competition that was around and the men that we all talked about, um, it all started with something, and that's in our community. I don't know why the community ended up being the way it was, but being, I guess, that we had kind of like 3 parks. Well, actually 4, right? There's Wingate, 92,
92.
Lefferts, and maybe
Lefferts.
if you ventured, the first venture would be Forster Park, you know.
Right. Right. Right.
And but
Right.
you take all of those guys, man, that from there, because you talk about if you went down, Rogers Avenue, like towards Empire Boulevard, that's when you start dealing with, guys like Joe Bond, you know,
Right.
um, what's his name? Like let's just say, Calvin Hicks,
Mm-hmm.
Lacey,
Mm-hmm.
William Burroughs,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
Booker, and guys that were like really, once again, good ball players, but it was
Mm-hmm.
competitive. When we played at all these different parks, you
Right.
know,
Right. Even 320. Remember 320
yeah,
right there by
320's in
Evans
there too.
Field.
Come to
Right.
think of it, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
like 5 places where they had a core nest of guys that played there, and the development was like huge. It was
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
And but
Mm-hmm.
we're all ends up being good men. And I mean, like, the weird thing for me, I respected them, and because they were giving back to everybody.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Joe Bonds and those guys are they always are giving info to Booker and all the younger guys that played back in the day, but they were playing as well, and
Right.
every park had that, man, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just that camaraderie that ran the course of things. It was crazy to me, man, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have it any other way, man. But jumping back again, man, back to, like you said, the early days and
Mm-hmm.
how long we've known each other. Um, and PS 92 elementary school, right, from first grade to fifth grade.
Right.
Basically just about the same class, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Kindergarten. Right.
Yeah, we're in the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
class, but because we're the last two guys, when we had to line up, man, we were always always the last two guys on
Last
the
two guys.
line with
That's
the
right.
guys, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the experience of there being there and our parents being involved in our lives, man, and the
Mm-hmm.
community being involved in our lives. Um, there was so many things to do, but basketball was like the driving force that we knew wasn't gonna let us down. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was like somewhere along the line, basketball was gonna snatch us up, and the rest would be history, man. But we
Mm-hmm.
started out at PS 92. Um, ended up playing with St. Francis of Assisi, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guy from Fenimore Street, white guy named Steven Stagmeyer, right, Les?
Steven Stadmeyer. Steven, I love that guy, man.
Yeah. And who
Yeah.
got and you brought me into that fold.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what happened was we were in that soda cream shop, right? So I wanted a cream joint, right? And he was in there, and I said, "Hey man, buy me a what they call those things back then? Not
A cream.
an egg cream." I said,
Yeah,
"Buy
A
me an egg
cream.
cream." Right? We sit at the counter. He said, "You know what? I'll buy you one." He said, "But only if you come to PS 92 on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. because I'm coaching a team, St. Francis." I said, "Okay." So he bought me the egg cream, and I told you, and that Saturday, I think it was me, you, and Norman might have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went over there, and that's how we all started. We met Russo, right? John Russo, Steven Scaffer, all those guys. We were on that team together.
Yeah, Gilbert McFarland.
That's right. That's right. Gil was on there. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
Gilberto.
He was
That's
our
right.
guard, man. Gilbert was our guard, man.
Gilberto. Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man. And it's like that experience, man, was crazy. I gotta throw this story in, man. The first game I ever played in, you jump
Mm-hmm.
ball, tap it to me. I turn around, throw the ball from like the bottom of the circle, like half court, throw it at the basket, like I'm playing dodgeball, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
0
Yeah.
and 1, man. It started my career.
I know, I know. But yo, wasn't it funny though, man, that I'm jumping center, but then I'm playing the guard.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the funny thing is that sometimes we would ask Norm to jump center because he was getting up higher than us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was definitely when we was playing at Lennox Road. Lennox Road, yo, he would jump center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, but that experience, man, that's what, hooked us all. And I give you a lot of credit for a lot of this, man. And I always say this, man, that um like you were like this like crazy like brain thinker of basketball. So it's like you was keeping the score, man. And like what for the radio, listening to
Mm,
Marv Albert, man, like and the Knicks were playing, and you had like a box score, like the way you see in a scorer's book. I started
yeah,
doing that myself, man. I pulled out that composition book, turned it
that's
sideways,
right.
right
That's
in the,
right. That's right.
and every shot that I heard Marv Albert speak about, I would make the circle. If he made it, I put a line through it.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. That's right. That's
so
right.
it's kind of like you got to understand, believe it or not, through that, you learned how to score a game, you
Mm,
know. And so you started making sense of it, like of the game in some senses of the word. Like,
hmm.
you start to understand it. And you're visualizing it because you're not watching on TV, you're listening to it. So,
Right, right,
so you
right,
kind of
right.
like, visualizing stuff, man. I'm telling you, crazy story, man.
Mm,
At 197, we had in the basement the the vents were hanging there, like they
hmm.
were on the ceiling, and the ceiling
Hmm.
was like it was almost like an 8 foot ceiling in the basement.
Hmm.
And but the vents were there, so I had I took a hanger, opened it up, hooked it into the vent, took a shirt and made it like a net, and I would be, me and Mark we used to be playing 1-on-1 with a tennis ball, and it's
Right.
like, but then you're kind of experimenting, you're doing like the Big E and stuff, and Gus Johnson moves, back in the
Yeah,
day, Jack
yeah.
Barron, and Billy Cunningham type of ball. And
Hmm.
but then the doc came in and all hell broke loose in the
I
base.
know, right? Yeah, 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 for
No, but
sure,
that,
for sure.
but all of that is kind of like, I guess you're playing and fantasizing your way through understanding the game.
Yeah,
You're flying
yeah,
through the air. You only have to jump like an inch off the ground to fly in the air as a kid.
right.
But it's like, but you're having fun, man, and it's like, and all that's doing is just adding to the enjoyment that's getting you hooked. You know,
That's right. That's right.
and then I go to your house, and in a narrow kitchen, and I need everybody to understand this. The size of a golf ball. This guy right here had a backboard and a rim that was the hole smaller than a golf hole, and we use like cellophane and ball it up, and we playing
Yeah,
one on
or tin
one.
foil. Yeah,
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 and playing
yeah.
one on one, and this guy's hitting jumpers, and it's like kicking my ass in his kitchen. Mom's sitting right on the other side of the wall, you know, and I'm like, I mean, but it's once again, man, it's that enjoyment. It was nothing but fun. We had a
Hmm.
great, have always having a great time doing that. If we couldn't play up there, we'd go down in your basement and
That's
do that.
right. That's right. That's right.
And
That's
then your
right.
grandmother would be coming by while we ball.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But it's like, but that's how you got me hooked, man. And but then, excuse me, what happened to us, man, was like, I guess it was Mr. Williams.
Hmm.
That was the next step for us.
After Steven Stadmeyer, yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Williams.
and
Yeah,
it was Lennox Road Baptist Church on Lennox and Nostrand Avenue,
Nostrand Avenue.
and in the YMCA league, and we had like like a combination of the Celtics, Lakers, the winning teams of that era in the pro level. That's
Hmm.
what playing for Lennox Road was like.
Yeah,
Different
yeah.
levels, every team successful. The best players in the community were on that team. The coach was a pastor and a master carpenter, legitimately,
Hmm.
and it was just an incredible environment, packed out, packed gyms, packed. With fans, families watching people play, and we're beating teams. What's the score, Les?
Yo, one game was 128-25, man. Yo, but okay. So now I get a lot of flack for talking about that, right? Because they mercy rules and all that kind of stuff. I said, but you know what? It made us all better people. I said, first of all, the guys who come into the game after we're up 40 points, they want to score too,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
they want to get their wreck in. All right. The other team didn't feel like, I feel so bad. You know what? The next time we played them, we only beat them by 60 points.
right,
Okay. So they learned
right,
a lesson. Okay.
yeah,
They played harder. But we hugged each other after the games. We said, good game. And this is a Christian league, and we were good.
right,
The people who say today that that's messed up, so and so, hit the road, man. Come
yeah,
on, man.
big time.
The
Don't
world is
even
getting too
talk to me.
soft.
Yeah,
Come on,
don't.
man. Yo, life is rough.
Right.
Everything's not gonna go your way. Sometimes somebody's gonna fuck you up. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Some days you're the windshield. Some days you're the bird. You know
right.
what I mean? Come on,
Yeah.
man. It happens, man. But
Well, it's
I
not. But
mean,
I wouldn't even get to that point, man. It's kind of like we're competing. That's
yeah,
number one.
yeah.
And and,
Hmm.
and and you can only make this judgment after the fact based on who we've turned out to be. We were
Hmm.
not malicious in what we did. It was not done
Exactly.
with malicious intent. It was
That's
done
true.
like, I am not going to let you score.
Right,
I
right.
don't care. I mean, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand the game.
That's true. That's
But
true.
I'm
That's
up
true.
by 40 points and I'm stopping, and you're trying to make a move to make a basket on me. The rule says I'm supposed to try to stop you.
Right,
It
right,
doesn't
right.
say if you're up by 40, you can only stop them like 3%, but let the other 97%, you let them go. No, it's not how
Right.
the game is played. You know, when you
I
roll your dice in Monopoly, like it comes out, you're right there getting ready to collect $200. We're gonna say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do that because that would be taking advantage of your opponent." No,
right.
you gotta play the
Yeah.
game the way the rules says to play the game. I didn't make the
Yeah.
rules; they're not
Yes.
my
Yeah.
rules; they're the rules of the game. You know,
Yeah.
so it's no different than saying, "Hey, 3 o'clock in the morning, you stand at a red light. Why am I sitting at this light?" And I kind of understand that you want to run the light because nobody's there, but that's not the case in this situation. This situation says
Right.
it's competition. You know, you're not gonna run that light if there's a cop sitting on that corner.
Right.
You know, you're gonna
That's right.
follow the
That's right.
rules.
That's right.
You know, so
Yeah.
so and
Yeah.
that's what we did. And it's funny because the way that we were taught was to competitively play defense and then turn the
Hmm.
defense into offense right away. No hesitation. So you take the ball, you
Hmm.
attack. You take that's how it works, you know. And
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said, guys on the bench wanted to score as well. Um, but it's kind of tough when like five guys scoring like 17 points. It's like you know the numbers are going to be high, man. Right? You know,
Right. And the other thing is this, E. Okay, so the guy on the bench, we got guys on the bench who are still averaging 15 a game.
right?
They come off the bench. So when they get in the game, oh,
Yeah,
it's a 40-point game, but
yeah,
I got to get my 15.
yeah. When Ronnie Cole came in that game, Les, you know Ronnie's pulling up with that left hand jumper.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know
Yes.
he is, man. And it's
Yeah,
like
man.
because he's open. And what
Yeah.
is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's the third quarter. You know, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like there's a
exactly,
minute.
exactly, exactly. And speaking of Ron Cole, man, I was thinking about Mark Wayman, man. Now, Mark Wayman, that was a special brother.
Yeah,
Yo, he had, but the one thing about him was he had a baby face, so he played like on a D. I think he played on a D team when we were on the C team,
right. He was
and
behind.
I ended up coaching him, man. I'm like, and later on in life, I'm like, yo, man, you're only 1 year younger than me, man. He said, yeah, man,
Yeah,
but I had that baby face, but he had that pretty jumper, man, and he could
that's what
get
I'm
up. He had them
saying.
big
You know,
ass hands.
and it's funny because you take a guy like that, man, and you put him up there with us, being that he was, learning the game and
Hmm.
that and he knew the scheme, right? That we play
Yeah,
defense, it turns to offense, and let me take advantage of what I do. And I shoot jumpers, and I'm gonna take you every time. Now
right,
it's nothing to talk about. And
right,
that's funny
right.
because that's how Mark's game is. He ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, man. Yo,
He ain't got
Mark
nothing
Wayman
to
was a bad boy, man. Yo, man, him, and Mark Martin. Those are two guys that I'm like, yo, these guys could really ball, man. I remember coaching Mark Martin, man, and I was telling him, I said, man, I said, yo, they laughing at you now, man. I said, but one day they're not gonna be laughing at you, man. And later on in life, man, as an adult, he told me, he said, Les, man, I remember that, and it made a difference in my life,
Yeah,
because then he said, they ain't laughing at me now when I'm
yeah,
crossing them over, when I'm taking them, and then he started boxing and knocking people out.
yeah. But I'm gonna speak to something you brought it up, so I want to speak.
Uh-huh.
And it speaks to what you were saying about how kind of like was a Christian league and how we conduct ourselves after the game and blah 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 blah. We learned this sport at the same time learned how to be men, right? Young
Hmm.
men, then grown men, and
Right,
both of
right.
those, and in those environments, we were always taught to have a reverence to respect everything around us, the
Hmm.
people, regarding the coaches, the process, respecting
Right.
the process. And
Hmm.
so, like you said, we play against somebody, beat them by 70 points, but we're playing, street football with them, the next day. We're
Right.
friends. And so, but that built a level of character in all of us that everybody in our community, just to let everybody know, they all have that in them.
Right.
And the people who still have survived and is still around now, they all have that spark of that level of respect for each other. And I don't
Hmm.
say that frivolously to the viewers that are going to see this.
Hmm.
Everybody that knows us knows what we're saying, and
Right.
there's a lot of
Absolutely.
people that know us because based on what we've covered, which is really like a 5 to 6 block radius of Brooklyn, New
Hmm.
York. If we went out 50 more blocks, 50 more
Mm-hmm.
blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that would be engulfed in that, they have the same training, they have the same
Right.
teachers, they have the
That's
same
right.
values, the same
That's right.
mindset. That and the proof of that is that we all still talk to each other to this day.
Right.
To
Right.
this
Right.
day, that there are guys that we played ball against that lived in Bushwick or lived in, Fort Hamilton or lived in Canarsie, whatever, and we still all communicate with us in some way,
Right.
shape, or form due to the social media.
Mm-hmm.
But we're around and we're doing that. We've
Right.
had
Right. Right.
this relationship that you and I have. That why we're doing this show today like this. This is not exclusive, man. This is just 1/100th of a story of everybody that we could have. Everybody that played basketball in Brooklyn in that, let's say in a 20-year period, they could all be on this Zoom call.
Right. 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 Right.
Chilling,
Right.
right? They could all be on this call talking about experiences that we all had. And it's like you say, find commonality. You find somebody and say, "Oh, I grew up with this guy. We still friends to this day." And
Mm-hmm.
then, but there's cross referencing with all of us.
Right. Right. That's true. That's true,
Yeah,
man.
and
Yeah.
Flatbush in itself, man, it's like so. But getting off that tangent and jumping off of once we finish with that, we'll also transition into middle school,
Right.
and a lot of things happened during that time. First
Mm-hmm.
thing I mean, for me personally, the first thing that happened, I started growing.
Right.
That's the first thing that kind of happened is that I started growing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and and it's like, and then and after the fact, you started growing. And it
Right.
changed who we were as players because you were a jump shooter, but it changed and that changed as time went on. But when we went to middle school and playing with Lennox Road Baptist Church, our bodies started changing as well. So, a lot of different opportunities started being presented to us all. But then we also started, engulfing ourselves into the older age category of people in middle school you know. And like you mentioned, Gavin, there were guys that were older than us that
Mm-hmm.
started having a real big impact on us,
That's right. That's right.
you know. And there was a time where we had guys like Gavin Hayes, Stephen Porter, Franklin Cummings, um, Derek Rucker, George Berry, you know, Mario Donawa, once
Mm-hmm.
again, the Green Brothers, my brother Mark, the guys
Right.
from Lefferts Park. I mean, all of these older ball players
Right.
started,
Big Fred, and Shotgun Slim.
yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Smokey. And
Yeah.
these are all
Oh,
older
Pop.
gentlemen.
Pop.
Yeah,
Pop was down.
Smokey,
Yeah.
Pop,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad started the was a Community Development Corp, CDC. And
CDC.
we started
Clicks.
playing and having teams, which spawned from like a summer job organization that was run out of the newly formed Downstate Medical Center.
Right.
And so we
Right.
were there, in the summertime, and there were jobs for the older people. We were in 161. Remember PS 161
Yeah.
on Sullivan Place.
Mm-hmm.
But then we started meeting guys from Bed-Stuy, like
Mm-hmm.
Ernest Branch, that was like went to Boys High, had a great career in itself. But we were meeting these guys, and they were older than us. And my father started a team, and we ended up playing in Downstate Medical, not Downstate. What was it? Was
The
it
G
Downstate? The
building.
G
The
building,
G
the Gaines
building.
County G building, which is where they held psychiatric patients, inpatient,
Mm-hmm.
and ones that were, I guess, locked, in place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a very, very weird environment. But we were playing
Yeah.
against, some tough teams from all over Brooklyn that would come in there. And it wasn't a tournament. We're just playing games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we never
Right.
played
Right.
any tournaments, but it's like all of a sudden,
Wasn't a
like, yo,
tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're playing a game. You had the uniforms, you go in there and we're beating people's asses, man. And,
Mm-hmm.
but then we started, learning to have competitive competition with people not from our community, you know,
Right.
as well as the fact that we had fan base, which were the psychiatric patients.
I know, right?
We'd be playing in a game, and all of a sudden it's like 30 psychiatric patients come walking in the place, like one floor of the cuckoo's nest, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But what an experience though. Nothing bad happened. There were no, nothing that you would, that conjure up in your head that would have happened. But once
Hmm.
again, the experiences were great. We're watching the older guys play, then we come out and we play. They're
Right.
supporting us, and you feel like a minor rock star in your community.
Right. Right. But also, even it also made us build up compassion for other people,
Right,
because those people came to watch us play, and we knew sort of what the situation was, but they appreciated us.
right,
You know what I mean? Just like when we used to go play up in Rikers Island,
right. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mr.
So those
Williams.
we submit with Mr. Williams, right? So we saw guys, but they enjoyed the entertainment.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they came out. They remember they bum rushed us one time. I
Yeah.
think it was me, you, Kelvin Hicks, and some other people, and we went there. And when we're going through the plexiglass thing, we saw a couple of guys that we used to play with that were on the other side of the glass, right? But after the game, because nobody was behind anything, they came running on the court, and we had won the game, and
Yeah.
we were all kind of like, "Hey," but they would just say, "Yo, man, good game, man. Thanks for coming." They
Yeah.
just
Exactly. Right.
appreciated the recreation, and I mean, and them guys were tough too, man.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Exactly.
we were boys; they were men.
They
You
were
know,
men. They were
they
men.
were men.
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah,
but the competition was like, it was under control.
yeah,
But
right.
that respect factor, that once again, the sport, man, it does something to you, man. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
times where it gets overboard. We understand that. But what
Hmm.
it did for us, not to us, is that, like you said, we learned valuable lessons in being around them,
Hmm.
respecting the fact that, hey, you know what, we didn't treat them ill in any kind of ill way.
Right,
Even we might have been, afraid of them. Like, it was a fearful type of environment, but
right.
but believe it or not, they made us feel comfortable that we competed, and it was
That's right.
nothing
That's
thought
right.
about it. We bust that ass. So
Yeah, yeah,
it did
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like we were playing well.
Right.
But those experiences, man, they made us like have such a level of respect for everything around us, through the eyes of an athlete. That's it, for me.
Right,
That's what I
right,
would look at it.
right. Mm-hmm, hmm.
Because we started taking that level of commitment to being respectful to other walks of life, that we deal with in the classroom,
Hmm.
in the neighborhood, how we treated each other, and
Yeah,
it truly is, and was nothing but love, man. I mean,
yeah. That's
it
right.
sounds
That's right.
corny as shit, man, but that's exactly what it was.
That's what it was, man.
No
That's what it
matter
was.
what color you were, there
Hmm.
were people, from Haiti. There were people from Jamaica, the
Hmm.
Caribbean, any Caribbean island. There were Hispanic people. There were Irish people, Italians that we
Yes.
played with or against, or
Yep.
lived next to,
That's
or
right.
around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I understand that there are problems. I'm not trying to act like this ain't no Shangri-La moment. I'm
Right.
just
Right.
saying that all I know, because I don't know what happens in, this Eddie's house when he goes inside. I don't know if parents are saying, "Oh, forget those blacks" or whatever the case may be. I don't have
Right.
no idea. But all I
Right.
know is outside we had respect for each other. We had
That's right.
fun,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
Um, and it wasn't just us at our age group. It was older people, as we could, following their suit, how we treated each other, how my brother
Yeah.
conducted himself,
Hmm.
with friends, how our parents conducted themselves,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's like the community at large. We were all taking care of each other. Like I said, you expand that out 20 blocks, the same things were going on in other communities, you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
but then we had a little breakup, you know, and
Hmm.
ended up going to different high schools, you know.
Right. Right.
And this guy here, man, had to, use some of his mathematical skills, man, and pass that Brooklyn Tech test, and took us behind to like the largest population of high school students together in America, probably.
Yeah,
There's like
man.
9, 10,000 students in that place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, downtown Brooklyn, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And I ended up taking my behind because of, I guess, the grandfather or grandmother clause. My sister was at Midwood, and they were kind of
Right.
recruiting me, so I ended up going to Midwood. Now, meanwhile, both of us were supposed to have gone to Erasmus High School coming out of Walt Whitman, which was
Hmm.
right down the street. And I don't know. I'm not gonna make this out to be like some kind of like real bad choice on anyone's part, but I could just imagine what that basketball team and that school would have been like if both of us had to end up going there. Because I know we conjure up a lot of what ifs, but I never really thought
Right.
about the Erasmus thing. If we legitimately had have been there, what would have happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
because me, you, Riley, who else?
Andre Gaddy,
Felix,
Felix,
Gaddy.
yeah, Felix Tertullian, Andre Gaddy, um, Dan Booker would have been there.
Right. That's right. And Kelvin Hicks.
Yeah, and Kelvin Hicks
Could you imagine? Come on, man. Come on, man. That's an all
and
star
Kelvin
team, man.
Hicks, man. Yeah,
Come on. Come on,
and it's
man.
like, and I know every school could say that. I mean, I guarantee you, man. South Shore could say that. Canarsie probably could say that. Boys High
Right.
could
Right.
say that.
Hmm.
Um, but nah. I'm sorry. Only thing, but maybe Boys High could say, because then that would you could always foster in everybody that lived in Fort Greene would have ended up at Boys High, and I get
Hmm.
that. But but just looking at what transpired and how we turned out, that would have been incredible, man. Because we're talking about six guys, 6'5" or better,
Hmm.
who went somewhere else and were on the pinnacle and the top level in the city. What would they have done with us, man? Something like that would have probably been screwed up by the adults around us, right?
Yeah,
So it would
man.
have been up
Probably
to
so.
them, huh?
Hmm. Probably so.
Yeah, it would have been
Probably.
up to them to make it work, and
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Just looking on paper, that would have been a hard mix back then. When you're talking about the size of people, because everybody had oh, if you're this height, you're a guard. If you're this, they kind of boxed you in back then, you
right,
know.
right.
So it'd have been hard to figure out like now who's gonna be the center. Okay, it's gonna be Gaddy, but then, damn, Felix is so tall, man. Can he be a guard? Damn, can we have Eric in the backcourt too? Oh man, so it would have
Yeah,
been a
exactly.
lot
And
of
and then you look at it, and then you kind of there's a lot of different. If I was a coach, I'd be like, well, who can't run the floor?
yeah,
That kind of thing. And I not knocking Gaddy or anything, but I would have figured he would have been the slowest of all of us. That would have been an issue. Then it's like there's no way in God's green earth I can't have less in this game, man, because of the multi-dimensional skill set. And the same with
hmm
Calvin Hicks. It's kind of like it's like, well, who gets the playing time? Blah blah blah. So
right,
I don't
right,
know. And then if there's any of them little guys, man, they get in the way.
yeah.
I'm
But
sorry to say that,
it's
everybody, man, but I consider little guys, little guys. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
But,
But you know what it is though too. You think about this now. Okay, so now Gaddy's got to be our number five. He got to be our center, right? But then so Kelvin Hicks is gonna be the four. So now I'm gonna be the three. You're gonna be the two, and then we got Felix, and then we got what was the other guy that played guard over there? Oh man, he was real nice too. They played guard at Erasmus. Oh,
ooh,
the guard man, he was really nice, man. Oh man, I can't forget. His name is going by my head, man.
Brunson?
That's what six. Huh?
Was it Brunson? His last name Brunson?
No, 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 no. He had hops too.
Ooh.
The dark skinned brother, he had hops. Oh man, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, if I don't remember him, he's coming off the bench. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, they think about and then we got Booker. Come on, man.
Yeah. And
So,
any
but see,
and any and any and anybody else that was there that Bunyan, because Bunyan was not letting players play on the team. That was
right.
historically the problem. My brother didn't
That's
play Steven didn't play, you
Right,
know.
right.
So there was a lot of so many players that were there during that time frame that during our era
Hmm.
that same scenario would have popped up. Guys
Right.
probably wouldn't have been on the team. He wouldn't have put them on the team. Would have been some kind of issue, and
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
you know, because you got coaches, you know, egos become greater than the greater good of what you know
Yeah,
the student body is, you know, providing to you.
right. But E, man, think about it though. I mean, you was playing center, man. Rolando Blackman was playing center when we started in high school, right? So
And
you think about that. How would a coach take the chance to say, okay, now I'm gonna make you a two guard at in 1974?
mhm.
You know?
But that did happen, but it didn't happen the way that we're talking about it because of
Hmm.
the you know the size of everybody else.
Right.
Eventually, that was like the plan because you know the next level was going to require that, but it wasn't done. It could have been done like you said, like as a sophomore or whatever,
Hmm.
because of like we had you know you got five guys over 6'7", you know you got to find space, you know.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Right.
that you're right. But that's the same with you playing with your back to the basket versus what you would kind of like classically trained to be, you know, a wingman. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
like you look at, you know, what the what ifs. Um,
Hmm.
it probably would have been, believe it or not, it probably would have been easier for you to transition into playing that wingman than for me and Felix playing the guard spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would
Yeah.
have had a hard time. We
Yeah.
would have had a
Yeah.
hard time, man. You know,
Hmm.
you eventually adjust, but you know, for the sake of the school, it probably wouldn't happen. That's probably one of the reasons why it would have been a challenge, is
Right. True.
because you know there was no plan for it, so the coach would be like in a panic. You know, what do I
Hmm.
do? What do I do? Who do I play?
Right.
You know, but that experience of being able to go somewhere else and everybody play and be who they were, that's probably what is the best case scenario than to get, you know, 60 guys that are the best players, you know, in a borough and put them all on the same in that same school. What kind of mess would that be? You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
so a lot
Hmm.
of people would have lost the opportunity to shine. You know, if we
Right.
all
Right.
were in the same school, so it works
Yeah.
out fine, man. You know, but
But you know what though? You know what? You hit a good point though, man, because that's probably the reason why I didn't play at Tech until my senior year, and neither did Kelvin Hicks until his senior year, because there was so many people in that school. So many. I mean, guys didn't even get a chance to be seen.
right.
You know, how was me and Kelvin Hicks walking around Brooklyn Tech for 3 years each, and only play our senior years?
Yeah, I
That
think
doesn't make sense.
I think during our time frame of let's just say, I'll just say from 1965 to 1990, that's probably the biggest joke that I think and there's a lot of people, oh, so and so was at that school we never played. And I
Hmm.
get it, you know. It wasn't because of the reasons that you and Calvin were overlooked. Y'all were overlooked. And I'm sorry to say this, I don't care what anybody says. Coach is an asshole. And that's my personal opinion. I've coached high school, and when I got that job, I was assistant coach. I got the job. I
Hmm.
started going to I was a girls coach. I started going to the gym classes and looking at who's playing and what they're doing. You know, I
Right.
wasn't going to go into the situation and just say, well, this is who's coming to try out. There might be a cut diamond in the rough in the gym class you don't even know. You
That's
know,
true.
so the intent of not knowing, being that you have that many players, and then you know I don't know if this is the case, but you know having putting the responsibility on some of the senior players on the team, guys who were seniors, and saying, "What about
Hmm.
this guy?" Letting them help make the decision for you. That doesn't work either, because
Hmm.
if you have a 5-minute tryout, you're liable
Yeah.
to get cut. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
and it
Right.
happens. Life goes on. You know, you're fine, but the school's history could have been better than what it was. So
Right.
that's the
Right.
impact that
Right.
it would have had, you know. Um, and that's a shame because if it's just not just you two, there might be a bunch. There probably were other guys that didn't
Oh
play,
yeah, absolutely, man.
you know,
Absolutely.
and just look at you too. I mean, it's like I don't. That's the other thing. It's like to jump past the high school level for you and Calvin, and both of you guys live like 5 blocks from each other and
Hmm.
end up being like two of the top performers on the Division II level in the country, leading teams to have the level of success that you guys had is, you got to pay attention to that. At least to me, I don't care what I says, what anybody says. You have to pay attention to that. That has to be reckoned with by the basketball community out of respect to say like these guys did their jobs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they had good careers, and it should be recognized as we recognize everybody for all that matters.
Right. Right.
Um, because it's kind of like everyone talks about that perseverance of them fighting through certain adversities, and your story has that in there. No one ever We don't speak about it much, but it's like that shit could have tore you apart, man. I was talking just knowing the experiences that we talked about in the beginning of the show, of everything basketball related that we encountered, and for you to get to the high school level, for that to happen could have broke your spirit, but it didn't even it actually didn't even touch it
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
all, man. But you were like, hell with this shit. I'm still gonna bust your asses wherever I'm playing at. And
Yeah.
eventually somebody paid attention to that, man. And
Hmm.
um like that has to be commended, man, because like I said, people's spirits get broken all the time. You didn't even let that shit bother you, man. You just went and did what you had to do. And um and that and that meant a lot. But it's funny because there were things around you that helped that to keep that fire going.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna stop on that and jump on myself. The mess of going to Midwood, with that scenario turned into a monster.
Hmm.
Playing with the best 13, 12 year olds in the summertime, because I go and jump around with George Murray. I met
Right. Right.
Murray from junior high school,
Hmm.
thanks to Wade Smith and Leo Moulton.
Wade Smith. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
And
dragged
Leo.
my ass to Halsey and Ralph,
Uh huh.
and all hell broke loose, man. But it's funny, I was doing things that I didn't think my body could do.
Hmm.
Duck walks, push ups, man, chin ups, and before and then learning the game, fine tuning everything. The total overhaul. And things worked out well to the point where I'm looked upon on the same level as, I guess, it was like, I guess it would have been Wayne McCoy, Albert King, David Underwood.
Hmm.
That's what the category I was in. And
That's right. That's right.
and the thing that made all of that incredible was there was a space for me. It wasn't like
Hmm.
those guys had like major reps, but there was a space for me to do what I had to do.
Hmm.
But then George was more get away from those environments and stick with me. Take you to the promised land, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything's working out well. We do well playing, Um, but during that, and and jumping back to you, when you're playing, kind of like, in the YMCA league, destroying people, and things aren't working out high school wise, but both of us are playing, and eventually it was our junior year that we both we your ass comes around with George,
Right. Right. Right.
and then that another all hell breaks loose, in that sense, because at that time we're not even participating really in Brooklyn basketball tournaments. We're going
Right.
into Harlem.
Right. That's
And
right.
a lot of people don't. I mean, it's all water under the bridge, but a lot of people don't understand that the Holcomb Rucker Pro League had a baby sister, which was the Holcomb Rucker High School League.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and George Merton puts a team in there. While that's going on, Gil Reynolds, part of a restoration organization as well, he's got a team out of Brooklyn, and they're playing in citywide Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And the year prior, the 2 years prior to that, that's what George did. We went to George and Gil went to Manhattan. But by
Mm-hmm.
the time you came around, right, the year prior, we won the Holcomb Rucker tournament. It was just teams from
Right.
Bronx and Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Artie Green, Kevin Pollins, guys of that caliber, Angel Cruz, and we'd go up there and we win. Come back the next year with you. It's you, myself,
Mm-hmm.
Donald McAllister.
Big Don. Yep.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. Phil
Mm-hmm.
Seymour, um, Nigel Lloyd, right?
That's right. Nice. That's right.
Yeah, Nigel
Norby.
Lloyd.
Norby.
Yeah, Norby, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
Clarence Thornton.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Um, what's his name? Leslie, right? The other big guy that played with us in Brevoort.
What is this? Graham? What was his last name?
I'll remember in a minute.
Lindsay. Lindsay.
Yeah,
Lindsay.
Lindsay. I said Leslie. Lindsay. Excuse
Right.
me.
Right. 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 And we
Um,
had Sweet's. We had Sweet's brother.
Steve.
Steve.
Stephen
Yeah.
Mitchell. Yeah, Jeff.
Steve is on.
And so we go there and Felix.
That's right. We have Felix.
And
Yo,
Felix.
and we had Sweet though. Kurt Kurt Hudson.
Yeah, but Kurt didn't play in the Rucker. He played in the
No,
Brevoort.
he played with us in Brevoort. He plays
Right.
in Brevoort. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
But it's like we go up there and we win it again.
Mm-hmm.
And only only me. I'm the only one that could attest to the two
He
championships.
played in both of them. Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
The first one was hard, man. It was hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
the whole season was hard. It was really hard. The second
Yeah.
one, it was I don't know what's the word. It was strategic, man. It was
Mm-hmm.
strategic because we weren't challenged because we
Right,
played
right.
so well together that nothing challenged us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that to some degree it's kind of like an offensive thing to the
Mm-hmm.
people of Uptown and the Bronx because it wasn't a cakewalk. That's not my point. But all I'm saying
Right.
is that we played really, really, really well together.
Mm-hmm.
We really
Mm-hmm.
did. And we never ever, I cannot remember not one time that there was discontent from one of us during the course of a
Mm-hmm.
game. I can't think of any.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never get mad with my teammates, man. I'll just say, yo, man, let's go. Let's go. Just
Yeah.
constantly supportive, you know.
Right. Yeah, it was Ernest on that team. Ernest Myrick, was he on
Nah,
that team?
he was on the team the
On
year
the first
before.
team.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but we had such a camaraderie with each other and a level of understanding of what George wanted out of us
Mm-hmm.
that it kind of like it's very odd as a coach or even as a player to know at a moment in time and going forward that everything always clicks mentally for everybody on the team.
Right. Right.
Everybody knows what their roles are. Everybody gives that effort and then
Mm-hmm.
some.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to box out a guy who is 6'8" and you're 5'9", you were gonna box him out. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no question. If I got to go and pick on a big guy and I know he's gonna lay me out on the pick, you make the decision and do it. That's how in tune we were with what we
Right.
had to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, like I could say that it was competitive, but it was easy for us to
Mm-hmm.
execute. And that made playing ball fun. That was like
Right.
probably the most enjoyable time that I think I've ever had playing basketball, other than playing
Mm-hmm.
for YMCA and beating teams by 60 and 70. No, but seriously, going uptown and playing with y'all, that team was
Mhm.
really, really an enjoyable experience for me, man. And a lot of it had a lot to do with just my opinion of why I enjoyed it and it was great was because I
Mhm.
liked all of y'all, man. I mean, first and
Mhm.
foremost, my best friend is on the team, and we know each other so well. It was like easy, even motivating each other. Like I know that look that you like, yo, E. like what are you doing? And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
and but in reverse, I ain't gotta say shit to you. I ain't gotta say shit, man.
Mm,
It's just a look, man. It's like I know what what's Les is expected to do, and
mm.
I gotta help him do that. You know,
Right, 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 right,
and we were
right.
all like that, like Big Don, man. He was like that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Felix Tertullian is a really, really
Yo,
good teammate,
that
man.
was a smooth brother, man. That was a
Yes,
smooth
man.
brother,
His,
man. For
but his
real.
personality to play together with him, it's like
Mm-hmm.
the only other person I think that I know that I played with that remind me of that was when I played with Mike McDuffin. May he rest in peace with Riverside.
Mm.
Mike had that same kind of like he don't care. Mike is just he's playing and he's gonna push you and be there and do whatever has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But then then we got Jelly Roll. My dude Phil Seymour.
Because I was getting ready to say,
Yeah,
I thought that's who you were getting ready to say about because Seymour is that kind of guy too, though, man.
yeah, man. Oh man, that's my bro, man. He should be on
Yeah,
this show with us, man, for
I
real.
know, right? Yeah.
Um, the trio of us, man, we got to know each other off, like away from, the court, Lincoln Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But we got to be friends, man. Like, and it was like, um, being that we all have size, like Phil being a big guard,
Right.
um, and he was kind of like it was annoying. People trying to play D on him was annoying to him. Was
Mm-hmm.
like really like you gotta be kidding me. You can't handle this. But he
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
a driving force, man, like with us because he had everything that George wanted to be done in his playbook. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like he fit into the space like real easy. Um, and him being, like I said, a big guard and a commanding guard, he just made
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
life real
exactly.
easy, man. Like life was,
Oscar Robertson, like that kind
yeah,
of
it
thing.
was
Yeah, yeah,
real easy playing because
yeah.
he was in total control of the game, and you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't notice it. It wasn't noticeable, but number one, he's shutting the guy. Whoever he's playing against, he's shutting him down. You
Right,
know,
right.
and plus he gets us the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the rest is history. But the team had, and then we had guys like Clarence Thornton, he was like a rocket launcher.
Mm-hmm.
You put him in the game, and before you know it, the guy's got 12 points,
Yeah, real quick, real quick. Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
bothering the living shit out of somebody so bad that the guy is like he's ready to leave or fight, one of the two.
yeah, yeah,
Clarence
yeah.
is a shit talker as well.
Yo, man, yo, I'm gonna tell you something about Clarence. But Clarence was one of he was one of my earliest like great teammates, man. Because, bro, he would just do what you do, and I'm gonna get you the ball. That was it. You
Yeah,
know, he
yeah,
trusted me, and I trusted him, man, and that was good enough, man. That was good enough.
yeah.
And at an early age, that meant a lot
Right,
because you're still trying to figure out life almost, and the fact that you can trust somebody else in this sport is like okay. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and okay, and he rewarded me. So
right,
that was real
exactly.
cool.
Right,
Yeah,
and but in reverse, he knows that if you're competing the way that you're supposed to be competing, he's going to have a good game
yeah.
because he's gonna you're supplementing what we know he can do, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
like and that you're right, and he was a good teammate, man. And plus,
Yeah.
he don't stand down to no one
To nobody,
to this
nobody.
day.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love that about him, man.
To
Yeah,
this day, man, you say something,
yeah,
he'd be like, he'd be on it. If I say something on social media, he'd be like, Eric Short, like right
yeah,
away. Like, I
yeah,
heard what you
yeah.
said, you know. And it's like, but that's that toughness that we all have, towards each
Mm-hmm.
other. And it just was, and then George orchestrated it just being like, look, y'all aren't little kids anymore. Y'all are men.
Right, right, right.
Conduct yourselves in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
You're representing the culture, you're representing the organization of restoration, representing
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, and you're representing me, you're representing your family, your
That's
parents.
right.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
Go down the gamut, man. and just lay down the law of
Mhm.
like these are the things that you need to do to be successful on that court. Play
Mhm.
together. Get the, do what I'm asking you to do. You're gonna play my game. And that
Right.
was the
That's right.
line. You're gonna play
Yeah.
my game, son, because my
Right.
game wins. And that's
Mhm.
and it's like we did we lose any games, man? I don't we went
I don't.
undefeated, right?
Yeah. 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 We did. We did. That's crazy, right?
Nah.
That's crazy.
You
You
hear
remember?
that? Hey, public, like for real, no disrespect to you guys uptown, but understand that, man. We went up there and it was undefeated.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yo,
And
it's funny because you say undefeated, but we were undefeated in the YMCA league, the A
yeah,
team and the B team, and the
yeah,
C team,
that
and
was
the
like
girl.
it's a normal occurrence, wasn't it? Like,
Come on, man. Come on.
yeah,
Man.
and it's
I just want to give a shout out to my Lefferts Park brothers, man, because 12B and all them guys, man. Those were good times, man. The White brothers, all them guys, man, are part of our fabric, man.
oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
they made us tough because they were tough. You
right,
know, so I always
exactly.
think about that, man, and I always mess with Bird. I would say, "Yo, man, how come you guys never wanted me to come play with you guys?" He said, "Man, we did, but we thought you was busy."
But it's like, but you look at that, just jumping onto those guys, man. It's
Mhm.
like Lepus Park is like the um the big brother of that community
Yeah,
because number one, the level of support that like the other areas don't show support the way the people in Lefferts Park do, man.
I
There's a
agree.
level
I
of
agree.
love that those guys have for each other. And
Hmm.
I speak to them as if that's separate from me, and to some degree they are,
Right.
but nevertheless, um, there's a togetherness that they have that when they guys go to play, like the people from the park, they come and support.
Yeah.
When Calvin Hicks, that crew was going to play at Brevoort, like the half of Brevoort was filled with Lefford Park
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And it's like, and they're still like that to this day. 12 and all of them, they really support each other, and they got it like they said. Back in the day, they had it going on.
Yeah.
As a group, man, and by no means do they get shunned out of this, man. That was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that was the spot, man. I'm telling you, because you go into that park, you're going to be challenged.
Yeah. And the one thing I loved about them guys, man, was that like they knew I was a Wingate guy, but I rolled into the park, man, and they just treated me like family no matter what, man. And that was real cool. We could go anywhere. And motherfuckers like, yo, what's up, Les? Come on, man. You want some run?
Right.
Yo, I got next, man. Les, you want some run? That kind of
Exactly.
thing, man. It was
Yeah.
cool, man. It was real
But
cool.
but a part of that, I mean, the experiences that we had in the Flatbush area, they solidified that.
Hmm.
But because then, um, actually before would have been Lennox Road, because that's when we all kind of bonded together playing with each
Right,
other.
right,
But also with CDC with my dad, like there were
right.
Lefferts Park guys were on the team, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's kind of like we all got to, as a community, we all came
Hmm.
together. It wasn't Wingate Park players, or it was Flatbush, basically. And
Right,
that
right,
I mean, it was that area, that PS 92, Lefferts,
hmm
320 Wingate, Forster
Okay.
Park area, and
Yeah.
it was incredible because, like I said before, man, we're still together, man. We talk with each
Hmm.
other, and those relationships, man, they're strong as hell, man. So
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
let's jump back up and
Uh huh.
go back like after it's all said and done, you know, we end up choose colleges to attend, and I totally screw up academically in school, and had to rectify that, which kind
Hmm.
of made me do what they call now reclassify. Going to
Right.
a prep school with Phil Seymour at Lower East Side Prep, and that experience, because of the issues that were going on, um, it gave me a chance to reflect on a lot of things that I had to face, and right, wrong, or indifferent, I had to face them. Otherwise, all hell would have broke loose. It would have been another story to be told.
Right.
Um, but getting through that, and I would attribute it to George. Trying to bridge gaps, family
Hmm.
gaps. And I was spending a lot of time with George during that time, man. And while that's
Okay.
going on, and you're up here, upstate New York, tearing down the Hartwick campus, man, like some kind of maniac. you know, but becoming a force in that environment. And the thing that's weird, and you can speak to the story of Big Don, who we played with,
Right.
in the Rucker, he was there. And you want to talk about what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, man. Well, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't have been at Hartwick, man. I didn't know where the hell Hartwick was. I didn't know what Oneonta, New York was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to go to George Washington University in D.C. and that they put the kibosh on that, man. So I was scrambling back to go to play for CW Post, and the coach that cut me 3 years in a row at Brooklyn Tech, when I'm playing in my senior year at Tech and I'm the man, and he's like, son, so what are you, a sophomore? And I told him, I said, Coach, don't you remember you cut me 3 years in a row? And he was so sorry. So he was trying to get me into some colleges. So he had this guy coming to from Post.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I'm hanging out with Don and he says, where you going to school? I said, CW Post. He said, man, we bust their ass every year. I said, well, where you go to school? He said, Hartwick. I said, where's Hartwick? Where the fuck's Oneonta? Da da da. So he said, yo, my coach looking for another big man. So I go up there, and it's a beautiful campus. They were gonna give me more money, the whole nine, and I decided to go there, man. So now I'm going up there, and he's the starting center, right? Now I'm coming up there. Now I'm starting at center. It's kind of I mean, that's how cool Don was, though. You
Right.
know what I mean? It was no big deal. Plus, we was probably getting about the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the coach later on in the year, he started sliding me into my natural position, which was the four. You know, so that worked out well. And then that's where I made my bones, man. Being a power forward. You
Right.
know, so I my freshman year, like I said, I was good. I was getting ready to come back with you to LIU, man. I was so
Mm-hmm.
frustrated, even though I was starting, man. I I didn't think I was playing that well, and I was messing up in school. I was 18 credits behind my freshman year, man.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. I went to Brooklyn Tech, man. I wasn't no stupid ass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but the way they gave me my courses and stuff, my guidance counselors weren't doing the right thing, and I was unhappy. So I was getting ready to leave and come back with you guys. And then my pops told me one thing. He said, son, if you wanna come back to Brooklyn and be downtown Brooklyn, 18 credits behind with your own apartment, I'll back you. He said, but son, if you run, you may always run. And that's the day I became a man. I
Mm-hmm.
stayed up there, man. I graduated on time, with 2 extra credits. You
Yeah.
know what I
And
mean?
it's
And,
like, and
and
all you needed, it sounds to me like, I mean, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand. Um, when you obtain something, man, it's because you have to put the work in. and
mhm,
and it's not just everything isn't put all on the table for you. Sometimes things are a little crooked. You might have like a little selfish, or or maybe somebody is treating you unfairly or whatever, and you, like you said, you're unhappy, but you change a
mhm,
couple of pieces on the board, and then before you know it, it's like, oh, all right, I can do
yeah,
this, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
but it takes you to put the work in, and the work
right,
in this situation was having conversation with your dad, and it's thinking. That's the
yeah,
work is that you think, like you start
right,
use your brain and figure
mhm,
out, what am I going to do? What is this the best thing for me? And you might make the wrong decision, but
mhm,
what's happening is that you're learning to make decisions on
right,
how a situation is, or dealing with a situation, and that you become mature. But you
right,
can't do that if you didn't have a level of maturity in you in the first place. Because
right.
you're
That's
just
true
because
too.
you'll hop at the first opportunity to get away from something, because you feel like it's not right for you. But
Hmm.
that's a point of emphasis for somebody to understand. Stick it out sometimes. You
Right,
know.
right,
Um,
right, right. And I know it was the best thing I ever did, man. Let me tell you something. My coach, he threw me off the team so many times, man. I can't believe how much I love that son of a bitch
mm.
right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but see,
but he,
you had to think though. You were
hmm
required to start thinking about you. Like,
yeah,
what am
yeah,
I doing? Like, I'm
yeah,
behind in classes. Well, why is that? I'm
right.
behind with this, or I'm not happy. Why is that? And
Hmm.
the conclusion that you came up with, I don't know what it was. If you want to speak to it, that's fine. But you had some things had to be fixed, probably including yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said before, I know I wasn't stupid. I got bad guidance from my guidance counselors because some of the classes they were giving me classes that there's no way that I could be on the road playing ball. And one teacher said if you miss 3 classes, no matter what, you better withdraw. Things like that. There was no, we had a Division 1 soccer team, and everybody just thought that the athletes got special treatment, but they were harder on us
Right.
because they were trying to prove a point.
And it's
You know,
hard, and it's just harder in general because you have to study on the road.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I withdrew from so many classes, man, and it was crazy, man. But I don't know. I don't even know how I did it to be 18 credits behind freshman year to graduate with 2 extra credits on time, which I was one of the first brothers to do that. On time, 4 years and out. No summer school, no, after, another graduation. I did summer school. I did all those things. I took extra classes to make sure I got out in 4 years. But I mean, it made me become a man, and I was like, okay, I'm happy. I'm happy, and I'm just so glad, man, because my Hartwood College brothers, man. Come on, all of them. Come on, man. Those are my guys. They mean as much to me as you, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Those guys in my heart, man.
They're good brothers, man. I just let
Yeah,
everybody know these are some good brothers, man, for
yeah,
real. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just so glad I stuck it out, man. And like I said, we had good parents, man. And my father just told me that one thing. He said, "Hey, son, if you run, you may always run, but if you want to do it, you can do it." And I was
Right.
like, okay, I
Yeah.
stuck it out.
And it's like that the dilemma that, jumping on our parents, the dilemma that you deal with as a kid or a young man. Um, I know our dad spoke to us with a level of their expectation that we could understand the information that they were telling us because they
Hmm.
knew that we had a sense of what's going on around us. We weren't clueless that we're like duh 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 duh. No, we were
Yeah.
like strictly in an understanding mode of the information being shared. So a quick statement by your dad was very easy, would set you straight as to
Hmm.
what you did wrong or what you need to do or what you need to consider, and then you got to
Right.
make the decision on your own. you know
Right. Right.
and
Right.
there's like to say, like a lot of times dad was a man of not too many words, but when he did
Yep.
speak, you listen to what he had to say.
That's right.
And it's funny because I was thinking about this the day before yesterday and I might have mentioned this in one of the shows we did recently when Carlos and I got into getting ready to have a fight, and everybody
Hmm.
followed us home, and I wouldn't fight him. I punked out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But then, my dad is home, and I'm like, this MF just wants to fight me. And then we go, and he
Hmm.
takes me inside and whips my butt. And it's
Hmm.
like, it's not, he said, it's not that, you didn't fight him. That's on you. You know, it's all on you. You should make a decision. You're going to fight him and hurt this guy, or you didn't want to fight him. That's on you. But how you spoke in my presence,
That's right.
that's
That's
on
right.
me. He's like, and
Yeah.
that's why I beat your ass. Is that's on me, because you
Hmm.
should have known better, no matter what the situation is, for you to be respectful, and you
Right.
lost it. He said,
That's right.
you
That's
lost it,
right.
and you lost it in a way, embarrassed yourself.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
embarrassed yourself the way you conducted yourself. You should just beat his butt and that
Hmm.
would have been the end of that. Guy's half your
Hmm.
size. but you're gonna start crying. And I remember
Yeah,
like it was yesterday, staying right at 197. And he took me
yeah,
inside, man, and beat the living daylights out of me, man. But I
yeah.
learned my lesson, man.
That's
But that's
right.
what they were. It's like short, short work on, giving
Mhm.
you knowledge and wisdom as a person to become a man, you know.
Right, right.
And it's up to you. Like you
Yeah.
said, you got to make the decision and you're gonna be a better person for it. And but that experience there is like, you stick it out and then you have a bunch of success at Hardwick, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was those the best years of my life, man. And it's so funny how when you're in something, you say, "Oh man, I can't wait to get through with it," and then going backward, you're saying, "Best years of my life, man. Why did I want to rush it?" I had some of the best times, met some of the best people. You know, I made some great decisions. And I was playing great. You
Mm.
know, and another funny story is that the best thing that ever happened to me was that I got hurt my senior year because at that point we were preseason All Americans, me and my point guard Larry Carpenter, and the other All American I played with was my roommate Jerry Fulmer, but he had graduated, so they had all this preseason stuff about me and Carp, and I got hurt the fifth game of the season, and the Portland Trailblazers, they were checking us out. I mean, come on, small Division II school, and I think a lot of it had to do with what was happening with New York Tech because they were checking out Kelvin Hicks and da da da. So now they were saying, you know what, maybe there's something. And Philadelphia Textile and Cheney State, they had a lot of good All American big guys.
Mm.
Andrew Fields and Roger Lacestaff. And so now all of a sudden, the NBA is actually looking at some of these Division II schools. And I got hurt, man. And like I said, it's probably the best thing that happened to me because I made sure I graduated on time. I had basketball out of my head as being something next and looking forward to my next life. And then the France thing just happened. You know,
Mm.
I was already working. I was already working in Penn Station, man. I had a orange jumpsuit, man. I was emptying garbage, you know, and I was getting ready to be in the union, man, when this guy calls about going to France, man. So I went to France, man, and I mean, 22 years old, man, from Brooklyn. It
Yeah.
was what a time. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. And it's like, but you do the work, man, and like you see, how things can work out, man, like getting injured, man, things, perspectives change.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
life, man. And it happens all the time. It can happen like every minute of your day, perspective changes.
yeah, yeah.
And that's, jumping back on me,
Hmm.
the perspective of the, prep school situation, um, things were bad.
Hmm.
And I could tell because the fact that actually nobody was coming to see me play or any of us play in that, that prep school league. So no one like kind of knew who we were. But in
Hmm.
some senses, people were like, hey, Low East Side Prep has two of the best sleepers in, the whole New York area, me and Phil Seymour.
Hmm.
Ray James was also doing the same thing, but he wouldn't play at the prep school level. Um, he was just went as a student. And
Okay.
but what happened is that we all were playing with Riverside during that time frame. And
Hmm.
so we had an opportunity to play in um, prep senior tournament in Arizona, for which I've gone to the one prior with Albert King, Jeff Rulin. It was like a year prior, but this year we went with Rodney and Scooter McCrae, Jimmy Black,
Hmm.
Rob
Okay.
Price, and
Okay.
so we go there and play. We're playing Sleepy Floyd and a whole bunch of other All Americans, and I have a great tournament. I mean, plus we had Larry Washington was with us. I had a great tournament, man, and I think
Hmm.
it opened up people's eyes again. Number one sleeper and all this other nonsense.
Right.
Um, and Murray State was looking at me, so it was kind of like, well, do you want to sit out because we have two New Yorkers sitting out there already? With, so I forgot one of the guys' names, but another guy named Gary Hooker from Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like, man, let me play if I can play. And
Right.
so, grade wise, I could play, believe it or not. I mean, my grades were fine. Once I finished with the prep school, I was fine.
Mm-hmm.
SATs were off the charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So NCAA wise, I could predict is what they called it, right, back in the day. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, everything was cool, but nobody was knocking on the door. And Mr. Lloyd from Riverside was like, well, this is what you do. And the same for Phil. Like, you guys go the JUCO route. And, they're pushing, like a lot of guys do that. Vinny Johnson did it, Sam Worthing, blah, 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 blah. I get it.
Right.
So it's like, fine. I said, where? So it's like, well, Murray State's looking at you. And they have this JUCO like about a half an hour away from there called Paducah. And so I went there, and they had pretty decent teams, probably something like 18-9 type of seasons. Um, so I go there, and it's like two other New Yorkers there. A guy named Bobby Wheeler from Glen Cove, New York, Long Island.
Okay.
Les, the guy was as dark as my phone, man. Serious, man.
Mm-hmm.
Slim dude,
Mm-hmm.
like Horace Grant. Les,
Mm-hmm.
I swear to you, there's nobody I've ever seen in my entire life at 6'6", on the smaller side of 6'6", who would grab every single rebound that comes at you. Every single
Mm-hmm.
rebound. He was like a offensive rebounding machine. So he was his and he knew to put it back. And plus he was so skilled on scoring baskets, like a high efficiency basketball player. And he was our leading
Mm-hmm.
scorer, but we did really well. We were like number 3 in the country for a good while. I think we're like at the time, I think we're like 23-3, 23 and
Mm-hmm.
2. And we played at school, Three Rivers. They were like number 2. We beat the shit out of them. And getting ready to push us up, and we're getting ready to go on a weight trip. And you go in a van, like a church van. Like we're going like
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
seven
Right.
games. 7 games, man. And I get hurt first game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad. It's a serious high ankle sprain, like serious high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was like either you play or your ass is going back to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
That was the stipulation. Either you get your butt back on the court, because we're not going to take you back to Paducah, because we had
Right.
like 5 more games on this
Right.
road
Right.
trip. So it's either you play or you go home.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing, and it totally changed me because I couldn't run, and it was like, it wasn't like, oh, you're on the team and you're okay, come off the bench. No, I was still starting. He was still
Right.
starting me, man.
Right.
So, and I was playing, and it's funny. I started out as a small forward
Mm-hmm.
because small forward that was gonna be playing in that spot. Um, he wasn't ready yet. Like he wasn't even in the school yet. So he's trying to get
Oh,
his
okay.
grade. I think he was at Indiana State and he had to transfer out. But
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, so I finally got back to my position I started out playing in the beginning of the year. But I got hurt, man, and it cost us dearly. It really did, because I was not the same player. I was not leaving the floor because
Mm-hmm.
how I got hurt. I went up for a rebound, and this guy was like right up underneath me. It's 5'9" guy, and we,
Mm-hmm.
and we were blowing him out, and he was saying I turned my ankle like really bad,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like, so after all is said and done, it's kind of like, what do you do? Do you look at Murray State, and then Murray State, then I find out Murray State's recruiting more players at the same
Okay.
position, so it's kind of like, well, I thought I was going to be coming into this spot, so that's how the transfer back to LIU happened, and that happened
Mm-hmm.
by accident. Because I heard,
Okay.
hey, guys are playing ball on, at 3 o'clock at LIU, like in the summertime. So I got, and this was like early August, like the second week in
Mm-hmm.
August, third week in August, excuse me, week before school started. And I'm going in, we're playing, and I'm like, there was Earl and Rudy and Riley and Gerard Burns and Mike Darby and Earl Knight. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, man, this is crazy, man. Like, and then plus other guys are there because we're all just hooping. And it's like, I'm well transferring back. And so he's like, you should transfer back too. Like, well, I mean, and no
Wow.
one knows my story to know that, that turmoil in Kentucky's going on. So I'm like, well, I go up there and speak to Coach Lizzo, and they're like, we know who you are. Da, 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 da. And so I go home and think about it, man. It's like, I don't want to call this guy back, man, because the Ku Klux Klan was messing with us while we were there, which was kind of crazy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to get into that story, but so it's like I don't want to deal with that,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm home. These guys, I played with these guys, man. It's D1, so you get all excited, and plus
Right.
it's like I'm playing in front of my friends and family, which
Right.
it's kind of
Right.
like meant something, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and to interject this part in, I don't want to break the story, but um, and nobody knew this, man. You ain't know, nobody knew of the Marfan syndrome.
Right. Right. Right.
And real quick for everybody should understand, Marfan syndrome is a condition that impacts your connective tissue. And I knew I had it all this time. I know exactly where I was when I was told. To this day, 197, I know exactly where I was sitting last, the exact spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a crushing blow, but at the same time, you don't tell nobody family secrets, right? You don't tell the public, your
Right.
private business in public. So you keep it quiet. And when you think about it now, what kind of physicals did we have when we were kids? You cough, blood pressure, send your ass out there to break a leg or something.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
you could fight and hide all the way up through high school, and then
Mm-hmm.
in our era, college too, because that's the same kind of physicals
Same
that you
kind
had
of
in
thing.
college,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, and so for me, and I don't, no one ever understands this, but knowing that, and it might have been fictitious or phantom pain or feelings, but you always have a sense that I got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. If I run too hard, so them wind sprints, I would be like the fifth person in the wind sprints. I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
kill myself. Everybody's running hard. I was never doing that. I was running
Mm-hmm.
fast enough not to beat that clock. I was running fast enough to beat the clock. But I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to, do a 10-second run in 7 seconds like these little fast guys. That's not I don't see the need for that.
Right.
It's conditioning, it's not a competition. So hiding, that disease from the world in that sense and still being able to play. Because if they find out you have that, then you're done. And you should be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that throwing that back into the story is figuring I'm coming home and I'm playing. It's like I knew at that stage, because of some other things that went on, that if once they find out I had the disease, they're not gonna let me play anymore. So I was like playing footloose and fancy free,
Right.
and with the same mindset that
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fall out on the court, type of thing. I don't want to get hurt, and from that, and you
Right.
hide it, and so that experience for me, the college experience, I knew was as far as I was going to go, and it worked out. I mean, it was a fine experience of playing, and being successful at that level, but I'm not gonna say it was like the best experience in my lifetime. Actually, my best experiences actually probably was was messing around with restoration. That was my best time
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
basketball. Because then
Mm-hmm.
you're younger and those things weren't in your head. You know, but it's
Right.
funny.
True.
It's funny though
True.
how you play, and no matter what level you're playing in, and you're being competitive, you don't want it to end. you know. And like you said, it's kind of like, you kind of like had washed your hands with it, just knowing, for whatever reasons that, floated your boat, it wasn't like, like that serious path that you were fighting to get to the professional level, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
what do you think that you would have?
I think if we were growing up now, the mindset would be different. But back then, there weren't that many NBA teams. It was like half the amount of teams. Um, I don't. It wasn't really in my mind. To tell you the truth, until my senior year when we knew some scouts were looking. But
Mhm.
I mean, I was just thinking about, getting my economics degree and working on Wall Street, man.
Right. Yeah.
And busting somebody's ass in the park.
Yeah, I
That was
wasn't
all.
even, and it's funny because I wasn't even, I didn't have, there was no agenda between, for my thinking. It was kind of like, and for me, all I knew was, I'm getting on the court, I'm playing. And there were
Yeah.
games where I was like 6 for 7, 8 for 9 type of shooting. And then the
Right.
next game, I'm like 1 for 3 because I only took 3 shots,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I never had like a poor percentage shooting game. It was either I
Hmm.
was shooting or I disappeared.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
that's and I could not break that. And a lot of that had a lot to do with how I felt, man. I mean, I'm serious. Like
Hmm.
sometimes, you got it flowing and it's either that or a bust. And there was
Right.
nothing in
Right.
between. And it's weird because Riley had scouts coming to watch him. He had goddamn cowboys coming to watch him. The
Hmm.
Cowboys were looking at that guy, and rightfully so. They should have been looking at him to play the Hulk for all that matters.
I know.
As
Right.
well.
Right. Right.
I'm
Yeah.
serious, man. But and everybody knew it. That there were scouts there watching him play.
Hmm.
I don't know what kind of evaluation they might have seen in me. I know that our years, like those 2 years, I guess would be 81. Let's just say 80 to 82. There were guys
Hmm.
being drafted that have you and I both did work on. I
Hmm.
guarantee you. If you looked at people's stats, they might have been
Right.
better or whatever case may be.
Hmm.
And it's not like I could not handle myself in that situation. And some things that I'm making assumptions on that my mother did, which
Hmm.
I can understand her perspective. But I didn't think that getting drafted was going to be part of the scenario because of how she spoke with me regarding that.
Right.
And just to give people some perspective, my mother worked for Proskauer Rose Getz and Mendenthal law firm. They represent the NBA. Um, at 10, I met David Stern. He was their lead lawyer, and he told me
Hmm.
not to play because of the disease. And my mom asked him to talk to me. And rumor has it in the family that my mother asked the NBA, don't even consider me as an NBA player because of the disease. She
Hmm.
told them that.
Hmm.
And there might have been some other factors. He's not good enough. Could have been that could have been the number one reason. So don't worry about it. He's not good enough anyway. That could have been the case. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but I know there were guys that got looks that and couldn't hang. And not
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
and not when I was playing seriously and when I gave it the effort. If I was BSing
Right.
through it, which happened a lot, then it's a different
Hmm.
story. But just those experiences of knowing that that's always hovering, I knew that the door was closing and closing fast. The closer you get to the end of the career, you know.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
but you see a lot of guys. I know that, it might have been the same scenario. Like Russell Davis should have been drafted at LIU. He should have been
Hmm.
drafted. Care what
Hmm.
anybody says, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, as well as Earl Fuller. I mean, why not? You kidding me?
True.
Charlie
True.
Chris, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, I just forget it. Muggsy
Yeah.
Bogues. Come on, man. That's not having the opportunity of at least being on the list. And back in our day, what was it like 11 rounds or 18 rounds?
Right. 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 Yeah.
Like really? Like there's something wrong. Like there, and I mean, I could be an idiot. I mean, your numbers speak to what they are, but you don't. There were guys that got drafted in the 80 to 82 time frame who averaged like 6, 7, 8 points a game in college, and they got
Hmm.
drafted.
Hmm.
So and the other side of the coin is, should you we I could have attempted to pad my stats and played a game with that mindset. I got to get
Hmm.
my shots off because I know that they're looking at me, right? Because
Right.
that would engulf you, that to say that you got to perform because you know the next level is watching. I never thought about that. I'm going out playing, I'm having a good time. I don't give a rat's ass.
Right. That's
I'm
true.
being I'm gonna compete. Um, I'm not knocking anyone. It's not my intent in saying this, but my average effort was, probably better than a lot of people that were on the team. I mean, because
Hmm.
no matter what, I was on the floor, so it's not by my choice. I don't put myself in the game. But
True.
so I just, I mean, for me, I wasn't. There's no animosity or problem with me, and knowing that it ended. I was glad it was over. I really was,
Yeah.
man. You
Hmm.
know, and for me, I like who I am. I don't care what
That's what
anybody.
counts, brother. That's what
Yeah,
counts, man.
yeah,
That's what counts, man. Yeah.
and it's not a brag or anything, but I think other people like who I am as well. At
Yeah,
least I know
man.
my wife does. So
Well, I'll second that emotion.
yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, but we're comfortable in our own
Yeah.
skin,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not going to defeat myself in looking at not making it and it being an issue.
Mm.
Um, I probably have just as much respect in the basketball community, of our community, as much as guys that did make it. And
Right.
no knock
Right.
on them, but I have just as much respect, and I think you do as well, and maybe even more than some guys that did make it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because the respect factor comes from the type of person's character. I don't care if you're a leading scorer in the NBA, defensive player every year, and but if you're a jerk, you're a jerk, and
Right.
that's
That's
straight
true.
up. That's the straight up truth. And
Hmm.
um, the respect that we've established, to some degree with our community, um, that's real and legitimate. And
Hmm.
nobody can take that away from you. You're not called, the principal for nothing, you know. And no, but seriously, I mean, just think about that. Like, it's funny because that name that they give you, it means something, man. And it's like you got to understand that. Let's people, the level of respect that people have for you as a person, as a man, um, it means more than you getting drafted, man. It really does, in my opinion. The character of a person, man, carries more than their, accolades, you
Yeah.
know. And I would just go, it goes back to, Mr. Williams. It goes back to Mr. Vines. It goes back to, playing with St. Francis Assisi, and being
Hmm.
in the community, and how we showed respect for the people around us,
Right.
you
That's right. The
know.
CDC kicks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how we were taught to be kind of like statesmen of whatever we're doing. Whether it doesn't
Hmm.
have to be basketball, it could be any damn thing,
Hmm.
but how you conduct yourself, it goes far, man. It goes really far, and it goes beyond the stats. None of this stuff gets on Basketball Reference Library or Wikipedia.
Right.
This is
Right. Right.
something.
Right.
This is something that is, people don't value this, but
Yeah,
but
man.
it means something.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely says it says a lot about somebody's character, man. Because when I was playing overseas, right? So I was playing on a team. It was like a Division II team with only one American, and this other team that my boy Howard Tompkins, I used to play at Wagner, was
Bones.
on in Nancy, right? Bones. Um, they wanted to pay me $50,000, right, to marry a French woman, so I could be a French player. So they would actually have two American players on the team, and that was because I was eating the food, I was learning the language, and I was a nice guy. I wasn't a crazy American demanding a lot of things. Because I saw some of my other brothers, man. I go to a game, and this guy cusses the coach out, and the next time I see him, he got a new car. His wife's wearing a mink coat, and I'm saying, well, maybe I'm too nice a guy, because maybe that's how you're supposed to do it. But they were used to the American guys being like that. So
Hmm.
because I wasn't like that, they were like, hey, man, I'll pay this guy to marry this chick. So he's a French player, and we have another American, man. So I thought about it for a minute,
Yeah,
but
sure you did.
but I know my mother would kill me if
Yeah.
I went and sold my soul for a couple of dollars.
Well,
You know.
especially if she was, a French goon.
Yeah, yeah. But think about this though. $50,000, man, back in 1981, man. Come on, man.
She looked like me, man. You'd marry her, right? No, but once again, but it's like that's funny because that's a way to get around the rules. So now you're participating in that to serve somebody else's purposes, and not necessarily your own.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I was saying that just for the fact that they thought that much about me as a person that they said, hey man, we want to have you, because like I said, I wasn't one of those evil Americans that they used to having. I didn't say, well, give me McDonald's, give me that. I was like, I'll eat your food. I want to learn your culture. I'll learn your language. That type of thing. So I was trying to assimilate, man. Into their culture, man. So that's what we were talking about as far as being a whole person. That type of thing. Yeah.
And that adjustment, they pick up on that, and it's a level of respect that garners, that how they feel about you, and it's kind of like, this guy is like, he's really trying to be a part of something, and I mean, it would have taken you into another direction as well, but it's funny because you had already displayed a level of maturity in your decision making that just doesn't fit in your DNA because of the decision that you decided not to transfer, out of Hartwick, years prior, that's who, Les Miller is. It's not the assimilation to the point of, for end up, you benefiting individually for yourself and doing something for somebody else to break your morals or your beliefs for them. You still stuck with your guns again, making a decision, and that's what that environment and this environment, you're supposed to pick up on those things as we go through our careers as athletes, to mature yourself and become, a better person or whatever. That's in anything you do in life. It's weird because we pick up all of those good traits, man. I always beckon it to like when you play computer games, I don't know, Call of Duty or something like that. Like as you're playing, there's a bigger gun sitting there. You got to come pick it up, or you get health or some ammunition and stuff. And so we pick up on all of those positives as we go, and we pick up the bad things too. But the positive things that were available to us, a lot of people didn't have those things available to them.
That's true.
So it's like sometimes I find myself to be in a very blessed situation of being able to make to have made some moral decisions that means that I was paying attention, or I learned to be able to do those things. I didn't do that much when I was in high school. Don't get me wrong, but as I got older, I started learning and learn from your mistakes and the things that you do well. So, but that's where you were. You were in a situation posed where I have to make a decision, and to some degree, it's kind of like a moral decision. Do I marry somebody just for the hell of it? For something selfish, or am I is marriage a venture that requires more than just what he's asking me to do?
Exactly.
40, 50 years later, thank goodness.
I know, for real.
Yeah,
Because I don't know what I would do.
May not be calling your son Pierre or something like that.
I know.
Michelle. But it's like, but those experiences, man, of playing and everything, and then you jump past all of that, and the playing days are over, and look what we both do, man. Once again, the society moral thing. We marry, the love of our lives, and
that's right.
And 40 years later, with the same person, a lot of scars.
No doubt, man. No doubt. We're not perfect. That's for sure.
But oddly enough, we married Caribbean women, and we made it through, man. We survived.
Yeah, man. Yo, and you know that they're still saving our lives to this day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know where I would be, man.
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. I mean, it's weird. We argue all the time. We yell at each other all the time, and I do yelling. She doesn't say anything actually.
Mm.
She's a woman of action,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. But it's a straightening or a support beam, for our lives, man, because I needed that. That
Hmm.
my foundation was not strong enough to make it, these 40 years, man. I needed her to really bridge that, my life so that it has some, a little bit more of a fine-tuned purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I look at it and just say that the effort that was put in, we reap benefits back from it. you know
No doubt. No doubt about that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then there's, um just the mere fact that when we stumble, they're always there.
Hmm.
And that's the one thing I could say. I said this, man, after all of the surgeries that I went through, every single time I open up my eyes, man, I saw her face, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not making that up, man. I really mean that, man. I mean,
I know, brother. I
it's
know.
yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's kind of weird waking up from anesthesia. It's a very
Hmm.
weird feeling, right? But every time, man. I mean, it's like it could have been like, oh, time I wake up and it's a nurse standing. No, no. Every single time my wife was standing right there, man. And it's
Yeah.
like that support mechanism that you don't know what that does. Like it's like, okay, I made it through because my eyes are open, I'm breathing,
Hmm.
and look what I see, man. It's like this gem, it's this diamond
Yep.
right in
That's
front of
right.
me.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
um, but that's, once again, it's making some decisions or having somebody around you that you trust, you believe in,
Hmm.
and they do for you, and um, you don't pay any attention to that. Years go by, but I've been paying attention to it, man, and um, I guess and I always say this, man, like you being an analyst, you're
Hmm.
working in banking and you're analyzing everything, right?
Right. Hmm.
That's what your job was. And so you walk out
Hmm.
of there and then you go home and you're analyzing everything here.
Hmm.
And then we become parents. So now we're analyzing that environment. So
Right.
you
No
always got your
doubt.
guard, yeah, you always got your guard up. It's like
Hmm.
analyzing things as a parent and a husband, as a citizen. And so I know the value that my wife has brought to the table. And I know you do as well. We talk about it all the time. And it's like,
Hmm.
you know, um, where would we be without them? Um, I'm not answering.
I know. I wouldn't be right here talking to you right now.
That's as far as I'm going with the answer, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we could conjure up what could have been, or what
Hmm.
would have been. But I like the space that I'm in. Once again, we made a decision to
Yeah.
to have a spouse and a person that we know we could count on, believe in, and vice versa. So,
Mhm.
um, and then we both have daughters.
Yeah. Girl dads.
Yeah, man. And that was like that was the cherry and the whipped cream on top, man.
Absolutely.
Because yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's kind of like that relationship is another thing, and just a level of pride that you have for their accomplishments and what they're doing. And it would have been the same with a son. I no doubt. I'm not knocking not having a son or anything,
Hmm.
but it would have been the same. But it's kind of like that. Having a child brings another dynamic into the thinking, and we took that responsibility seriously.
No
You
doubt.
know, it wasn't
Absolutely,
like
brother.
a half-ass concern. It's like their friends got to know us, very well. Am I right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
no
right.
doubt. There were many times, man, where I had to pull out a chainsaw, man, and
Hmm.
set the record straight for real. And um, And it's like it's weird that the community ends up knowing me as the chainsaw dad to this
I know,
day.
right? That's funny.
To
That's
this
so funny.
day, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they're now all grown, like 36, 37 years old.
yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Short, I
yeah.
remember when you had that chainsaw. Like, yeah, I ain't fooling around, and but being a parent, man, that dynamic is um it's something else, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I look at them now and I look back, um, I know that we did a damn good job. I know it,
Oh,
man.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm definitely proud of our girls, man, for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they've made mistakes, but it's like
Come on, man.
that the path that they're on that path because of the info that you done shared with them. They
Mm-hmm.
are who they are because of what we gave them, So,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
put that coin in the slot and pulled that arm down. And it's like, well, once that that fruit started turning on that wheel, you know, no, but that's exactly what happened, and so now they are who they are, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
That's true.
and a lot more talk than what we got, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I no, I done talk Amanda to death, man, regarding right and wrong and different, man, and so,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
she's up here holding me to the fire on all of the rules and precedents that I set, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
and she's developing and taking it to another level, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So the journey has been quite the experience, man. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess in this conversation I would be really messed up, man, if I didn't mention like all of the people, and not them individually, but just in general. Um, our viewers have no freaking idea how many people have had an impact on us, man.
Right.
And I'm speaking in behalf of you, if you don't mind me
Yo,
saying.
absolutely. I know. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many people, man. I mean, it just it's kind of really blows my mind, and plus the people that we have lost between that and the people that have impacted me from neighbors, coaches, teachers, um, community organizers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, believe it or not, and I don't say this as a joke, and I talk about it kind of often. Even the Hasidic community, that had an impact on me, man. I
Mm-hmm.
kid you not. I am not
Yeah.
joking. I'm not from the Caribbean. I'm
Mm-hmm.
full blown, African American, Native American roots. The Caribbean community had a big impact on me, man. A real bit, like more than I can even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Culturally, um, it really did have an impact on me, and to this day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a roti lover because of it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So I mean, it's just our community. Hats off, man, to the people of Brooklyn and what they represent is probably in my opinion, and I don't care what anybody else says. It's the most diverse and um, I don't know what the word would be, get along community that I know of in
Mm-hmm.
America. When
Mm-hmm.
you tear back the layers of all of the nonsense that's pushed, we're all New Yorkers. And that's a
Yep.
bond, that's a tide that we all are never gonna ever let go, no matter where you
Yep.
are. Um, and that the community of that diversity that's there, with the problems that exist as well, the
Mm-hmm.
diversity, the positive side of that always shines through. It always
That's
does.
true. Yep.
Whether it be because of a sport, because of food, because of a fashion, because of whatever the case may be. There's so many things that keep us, locked in, um, and having respect for each other. That's something that, and it's being lost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
something
Very.
that, yeah,
Yep. Mm.
and I don't know who's the keeper of the castle and who's the one who's in charge, but that's something that needs to be maintained. and preserved because it speaks to our culture. It speaks to, you know, the type of dynamic of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and there's respect there, you know, and that means a lot to me. The respect for all of the communities of Brooklyn, whether it be, you know, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, Bushwick, Flatbush, downtown, Fort
Mm-hmm.
Greene, Borum Hill area. I don't
Right.
care. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing but love out there, man. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
we're very unique in that, but that has to be maintained,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be something that's done because the protection of the culture that was created then, um, that's what makes, you know, Brooklyn what it is. You
Yeah.
know,
No doubt. No
with all
doubt.
of the BS that's going on out there, man, it's one of the things that we can hold on to, man. But that's, you know, speaks once again that the people that we watched play, the people that were mentors to us, and the ones
Mm-hmm.
that aren't here, may they rest in peace. And you know, grateful for, you know, your support and your love and your mentorships. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
there's not nowhere else in this country is this happened like this. You know, that level of love
Mm-hmm.
that we all have for each other. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we stand before you all today doing what we do is the love of Brooklyn, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
You know. What you got, man?
Nothing, man. Yo, this was good, man. It was good chopping it up with you, brother. You know, I got nothing but love for you. You know that.
Yeah, man, the same
Uh,
here, man. I don't I tell you, man, it's, you know, there's absolutely not that many human beings on earth, man. I love as much as I do you, man. I'm serious, man. It's, you know, we go way back, man, and the 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 level of respect that's there as well, man. It's like it's untouchable, man. There's
yes,
nothing that
sir.
can touch this, man. And you know, we go about our business and do what we do, and like I said, the
Mm-hmm.
respect that people have for us, that I assume that people have for us,
Mm-hmm.
um, that means something, man. I take a lot of
Yeah.
pride in that, man, and it's something that not only is it provided, but then you have to reciprocate and maintain that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Mm.
And for me, it's who I am. So it's like it's no big deal to be who I am. So
Right.
just
Right.
continue being me, and that's what I would say to you, Les. Like continue being you, man, because it's the best version of Les Miller, and this is the Les Miller that, you know, the community loves. And you know, you can't put a price tag on that shit, man. It's just, you know that feeling. You know,
Yes,
that level
indeed.
of love that we have for each other, and that the community is shown, to give
Mm-hmm.
back. You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no, you can't, man. And you know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I noticed a lot of things. Um, that level of respect there, we earned this, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we all have, man. We've earned the mutual respect for each other, and that's why they call you the principal, right? There's a couple of names that you have though. What is it? A principal, the director? I don't know, man. They got all these like highfalutin criticisms of you,
I
man.
know it makes me smile when I see them, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but when people say it, man, it's like they mean it. And there's one
Yeah.
guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but when he's like when I post stuff about you, that it comes out right away. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows that. And that level of respect, you know, I can draw back on it all. And
Mm-hmm.
this and but you showed concern for others at a level that had people they needed to give you a name other than Leslie. That's not good enough, man. We gotta call this guy the principal, man. You know, but that connotation, it speaks to, like, you know, guy in charge, respect him, and he's gonna respect you. And it's not like a drill sergeant type of, you know, criticism, but there's like less is in charge. You know, we're good now because Les is here. No, but that means something, man. I don't know about you, man, but if somebody gives me a compliment, man, I take that shit, man, and run with it because it means something to me. And you know, I say to the viewers, man, when your mortality is in question and you have had health scares, um, compliments are like one of the things that you know are like that's in one of the ingredients for us to get better. And
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, it's like,
Mhm.
and I appreciate all of the you know kind words and things that people have said. I don't know if I've had an opportunity over the past 19, 20 years of that to tell everyone. I'm really grateful for what you know the respect and um, responses that I've gotten back from people. I'm going to mention this, and maybe I shouldn't, but I a couple of guys that had been interviewed, and before we got into the show or of the interview, the persons you know persons because it happened multiple times went all in on me about me and how they felt about me, and I started crying, man. I because I had
Mhm.
no idea that my conduct as a person
Mhm.
brought out, and and being that it happened with multiple people, it wasn't just made up.
Right.
I had no idea that people had that I had an impact on people like that, and they were
Mhm.
referring to like our teenage years, and that meant a lot to me. And being alive to be able to hear it was is the other thing. It's kind of like
Yep.
you give
Yep.
people their flowers and you let them know how you feel. You
Mhm.
let them know. And so, I mean, if just in case, being I have this forum right now, every single person that is on our page, the Brooklyn Basketball History page, everybody that's on my regular feed, and everybody that watches these, I just want to tell you all thank you very much for allowing us to provide this content and much respect for what you know you guys have allowed us to do and to support us through these things. I'm doing this strictly out of the love for you all. And it's the love that's in my heart, man. I'm not mixing any words here. I am dead serious. That's how I feel. And I love everybody, man. It sounds stupid and corny. I don't care because they ain't kicking my ass. That's how I feel. I love you all. And I like staying connected with you guys, even though I'm 600 odd miles away from Brooklyn, New York. And just having this forum to be able to communicate with you guys really means a lot to me because it's my way of giving back to you guys. And there's probably going to be more to follow as well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you got less on closing, man?
Ditto. 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 Ditto, brother.
Corny
That's
ass, man. You know,
that.
we go an hour and 40 minutes, and you close out with a corny ditto, man. Come on.
Yo, man, ditto, man, because that says it all, man. Because I appreciate you, appreciate all the folks that check out our shows, and I'm glad that you put me on to want to be on with you, and you know, hey, this is something that I think maybe next on the weekend I'm going to look back and have a beer and watch this again and
Oh, I
enjoy it.
might watch it every day. You kidding? No,
Yeah, man.
but it's kind of like on a selfish tip. There are selfish motives for this
Yeah.
as well. I'm pretty sure that whatever yours are or whatever
Mhm.
mine is, it means something. And you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like reaching out to people and talking to people. I love talking. So
Right. Right.
for
Right.
me, yeah, you can notice that, right?
Hmm.
Cassandra's always telling me to shut up, man. And
Yeah.
so, but it's our way of giving back, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a niche and an environment that was missing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it turns out that there's a reason for it, and there's a need for it,
Hmm.
because the history has to be maintained and as well as you know shared with people so that they'll know.
True. 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 True.
And we're not and the odd thing is less you and I we're not you know gun ho with this. This is very
Mm-hmm.
casual. Like the
Yeah.
shows, the page is a very casual page. We're not pushing on anyone for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very hesitant. Excuse me. I'm very hesitant to ask people for anything, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not what this is about. This is
Right.
not about taking any resources out of the community or trying to benefit financially for something. This is not what this is about. This is just about, you know, sharing and embracing history, and like, and you pushed me to kind of like make sure that we do these for prosperity for everyone. I know
Right.
this show in itself is prosperity for you and I. Other
Mm-hmm.
people that we've had on the show, they can show their grandkids and they
Yeah.
can hear their stories, because
Mm-hmm.
every single one of us has a story.
That's right.
Every
That's right.
single one of us.
Yep.
And this is my pitch to everybody, and I'm not joking. For the most part, unless you can confirm this while we're on the show, we're pretty much available to do these shows, almost on a everyday basis, almost.
Yeah.
We're not
Yep.
going to get,
Yep.
yeah, we're not going to get out of control with that. But the point that I'm trying to make is, we want to interview everybody. We really
Right.
do, and for the purpose, because we know that you deserve to be interviewed because you have a story to tell.
That's
So
right.
if
That's right.
anybody, and there have been people that have asked, and we've had them on. We've put them on right away, as a matter of fact, right, Les?
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So if you got something to say, our door is always open.
Yep.
So please, if you find it necessary to want to, share your story, let me know. We'll find time to get you in, and to share your experiences and your legacy of what you did,
Mm-hmm.
through the venue of basketball in Brooklyn, New York.
That's right. That's right. Yo, and with that being said, yeah, I just want to shout out to uh to our families, man. You know, Dawn, Alyssa, Amanda, Cass. They're a big part of our lives. And everything that we do. Um, I don't know what our world would be without them. me and you would be in the old folks' home together, E.
Yeah, for real, man.
you
And
know,
you're right, and to not mention them, it's part of the whole DNA process, and we love them,
yes,
so
yes,
um, and we love everybody else as well. Believe it or not,
that's right,
there's a
that's
couple,
right.
there's a couple of stragglers out there, but we're not gonna mention no
Yeah,
names.
yeah, yeah. And also a shout out to my Wingate Park brothers, my Lefferts Park brothers, my 320 brothers, my PS92 brothers and sisters, I should say. Also, I'm sorry. And who we got? Albany Park,
Foster,
Foster Park, and
Ditmas,
Tillery Park. My man Dino. Dino's a Tillery Park guy
yeah,
down in
Ditmas,
Fort Greene. Yeah, man.
you
But all,
know,
all my Brooklyn people, man. Just a shout out to all y'all, man. Love you guys and ladies.
yeah, definitely, man. Don't leave out the ladies, man, and
Yeah, man. Yep.
yeah, because they're the balance of that community as well,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely, absolutely.
and it's and they were part of the journey, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the other thing. It's like this journey was not like an individual thing,
Yeah.
an individual quest. This
Mm-hmm.
was, like a big community of people, for which, for the most part, in our case, for our years, um, 40 plus years of a
Mm-hmm.
relationship that is still there.
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
years. And we're talking, if I had to count, I couldn't count them, but quite a number of people. You figure 30 high schools, 30, let's just say 20 Catholic schools. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
40, 50, so let's say 40 schools with XYZ amount of students in there. And we all still interact through social media,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
through
Right.
this
Right.
venue of Brooklyn basketball history, as well as some others that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, so Les is right in that, the ladies are involved in this quest as well, and
Yeah.
they have to be respectfully mentioned, because otherwise we'd be doing disservice for what the community provided to us, man.
That's
And
true. Yo,
Um,
Think about it. We could talk about the women's teams in Lenox Road, our cheerleaders in Lenox Road, the cheerleaders in high school. We could talk about uh, what was that? The Restoration Girls team that we had. I mean, come on, they went up in the Rucker too, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
as well as just the girls. Period.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That too. Yeah,
It's quite a number of them.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt,
You
man.
know that we've become close to over the years,
Yeah,
and that we're
hmm
still friends with,
yeah,
and being that he's mentioning that as well, man, I just want to damn, I want to mention the ones who are no longer with us, man,
mm,
that's probably that's the biggest that's the hardest part of this whole thing. There's a lot of people that have transitioned, and um, much respect to them. And I mean every
yeah,
single one of them. I can't mention names because I'd be leaving somebody out. But if they are no longer with us and they're from that era, then they're
yeah,
part of our thoughts and our prayers, and
absolutely,
as well
absolutely.
as their families. Man, this is the community was just incredible, and everybody watching the show can relate that there are
Hmm.
people who have passed that we respected, that
Yeah,
were
no
role
doubt.
models or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
um and hats off to them as well, man. It's nothing but love
Yeah.
and respect, and even our neighbors from other boroughs, man, it's nothing but love and
Mhm.
respect for you guys too, you uptown guys, my dudes, and I don't care what
That's right.
anybody says, guys from
That's right.
Queens, Battalion Hall and Lost
Yeah, yeah,
Battalion,
yeah,
IS-8, those are
yeah.
our dudes, Dykeman,
Hmm.
those are our dudes. Cromwell, those are our dudes, man,
Yeah,
we cross over the water, man, and go over to Snyder and St. Pat's and South Jersey. Those are our
that's
dudes,
right. That's right.
you
That's
know.
right.
And that love is infectious. It grows, and it's not accusatory, and it's not critical.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets a pass everybody has the password. So we're not omitting anybody except for those ones who know who you are.
Yeah,
BSM.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But on the serious side, that's how we feel, man. And the people who are going through, some other some health issues that we're currently aware of, like my brother Bernard Boyd, like my homeboy Kurt Hudson, and I'm pretty sure some other guys. And I apologize for not mentioning your names, but those two guys specifically, I love you guys, man, and please, man, take care of yourself. Um, we love you, man, and just get well,
Yep.
be well. You know.
All right.
So,
Sounds good. E.
um, no tears shed. Some
Nah.
little bit of laughter here and there, man. You got two crybabies in the house, man, so y'all don't know
Yo,
that either. You know.
I'm glad I didn't have to put my shades on today. Yeah.
But for the most part, man, we found a way. We find a way
Yep.
to do what we got
Yep.
to
Yep.
do,
Yep. Yeah.
and would definitely like to let you guys know that we'll see you on the next show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
All right.